Good morning, humanity. It is November 4th, 2019, and this is your favorite part of the week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, everybody. My name's Paul.
And my name's Bev.
Hi, Bev. How are you up there?
I am just fine, Paul. How are you
I
down
am
there?
good. And look at what we have to our left or right. I don't know what it is, but we.
Hey,
Hi, Deborah.
welcome, Deborah.
Hi, Bev and Paul. How are you?
Oh, we
We're
are
good.
fine. So there you go, folks. We have Debra Schildhouse with us today, and she is the author of our favorite book, BioTouch, Healing with the Power in Our Fingertips. There is the cover, and there is her name right there. And she is live, and she is in Peoria, Arizona, yeah?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me today. I love the Bev and Paul show. So I am happy to be here again. I was here 2.5 years ago with you, and look now.
Look now. Yes, sir.
And here you are.
Let's see. I need to get this down a little bit here. Okay. I don't know what's happening, but okay. My technicalities have changed a little here. So, all right, here we go. All right, so this is a favorite time because it's the 4-year anniversary. Yeah, 4 years since you published this book.
4 years. I can't believe it.
I know. And actually, before we even start, it was 4 years ago that we had that party, and we wanted to show the three of us 4 years ago. There we are, the three of us.
The gala.
The gala event that was the beginning of that book, BioTouch: Healing with the Power in Our Fingertips.
Oh, that was a magical evening.
It was,
Deborah. It was a great evening. Wow.
So the question for today is, what is the book? And we're going to start with a little quote here that Dr. Bill Gallagher wrote about the book, and then we're going to go talk to Deborah about how she even got involved with this and why she wrote it, because the book's timeless. Doesn't matter when you pick it up. And Dr. Bill Gallagher said, the story about BioTouch is one that needed to be told, and Debra Schildhouse is the perfect storyteller to do that job. This simple, gentle, and loving technique has touched so many lives, and this book will touch so many more. Understanding Paul Bucky's journey will help you to understand why anyone walking into the BioTouch Center feels loved and everyone walking out feels better. Great little testimonial.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
So, Deborah, tell us about when you first walked in there, and that's another anniversary, isn't it?
It is. Actually, that was 10 years ago. A decade ago.
Oh, my goodness. I know.
Incredible.
Yeah, I walked in that door because I had just been through a terrible ordeal. Our daughter had been very sick with viral meningitis, and it was a tough go. Doctors were not able to help relieve her pain, and I didn't know how to relieve her pain. So it was really a trial. And thank goodness, she was able to heal and she was able to get back to her normal life. But I was forever scarred. I needed to find something that would help me not to feel that helpless or hopeless ever again. And I knew I wanted to find some kind of a hands-on type of healing technique, because I had tried some others in the past, and they were a lot of work. You had to conjure up, this kind of heat in your hands, and you had to center yourself and all this stuff. And if you were in an emotional state, try that, forget it. So I needed something I could depend on no matter what was going on. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was BioTouch. And I had read about BioTouch. And so as soon as our daughter was feeling better, I signed up to take the next BioTouch class, which just happened to be a few minutes really from my house. And so that was like, okay, how easy is that? And so before you take the class, you get information about what's going to happen. And so the information that came in the mail, I read it out loud to my husband, Howard. And it said that one of the things that would be happening would be that we would have to remove our shirts because BioTouch is done with the fingers on the skin. And yeah, it sounded a little weird to me at the time, but Howard was like, what? Are you kidding me? No, this sounds like some weirdo's doing some scammy thing. No. And so I said, well, I'm going to go check it out. But I was a little skeptical, and I was like a little worried too about taking off my shirt. But I promised him that no men, either practitioners or other students, would see me without my shirt on. So I walked into the door at the BioTouch Center, and it was a very nice, pleasant place, and it smelled good, and there was nice music going. And I thought, okay, this could be okay. And then people started coming in, and I quickly realized that I was overdressed for the occasion. Everybody was dressed so comfortably and sensibly. And I was in this, kind of like raspberry-ish color shirt and nice pants and high-heeled shoes. And as I say in the book, I felt like I was a pink iced cupcake or donut, I think I said.
I think you said donut.
Donut in a box of bagels. So, and I was nervous. People were very nice and all, but I thought, I don't know. But by the end of that 2-day class, I was sold. This was what I was looking for. It was simple, effective. I was all in.
And wow, look what happened 10 years later.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's we always just love that story. Always, especially as we get into the book, how it's, oh yeah, the Fit Hills girl meets the hippie boy.
Right.
And so, you weren't even there that first day.
Right. And so when did we finally meet each other? That was what, a week later or?
A couple weeks later.
Oh,
so
yeah.
At the end of that first class, I wanted to learn more about BioTouch, and I wanted to take the next class, which was actually going to be 4 different days. This one was like just 2 days over the weekend. And so I didn't meet you till that, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks later. So I was coming from the parking lot, dressed sensibly this time.
With designer's jeans and a regular top, right?
Sneakers,
Designer sneakers, not just sneakers there. They weren't Converse.
Very little, jewelry, but I still had my makeup and stuff on.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But because a lot of people, didn't wear makeup there. But so I was walking from my car in the parking lot into the back door. And I saw you, and I had not met you before, but I figured that that's who you were. Oh, that must be Paul Bucky, the co-founder of BioTouch. And so you said, hi, how are you? You must be Debra. And I'm like, well, how did you know? And you said, well, I heard about you. And I said, uh-oh, did they tell you what I look like too? And you said, they just mentioned big blonde hair and lipstick. Hello. So
That's
some
funny.
things never change. 10 years later.
10 years later.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So then let's sort of jump forward. So you became certified. Were you in that certification? You were there, Bev, yeah, during that certification time?
No, I was already certified by the time Debra came along.
Right. You weren't the executive director then?
Oh, no. I was still just working, proud of myself, working 2 Saturdays a month at the center.
We haven't even hooked you in yet.
Haven't even, no.
So let's go a little fast forward there then about how did we come around to you writing the book?
So what happened was, it took me about 4 months to get certified, and I was so excited. I couldn't wait to start and actually have my own recipients that would come, and I could work on them alone in the room. And I really just wanted to share BioTouch and help people feel better. And I was doing that for about a year and having some very interesting experiences, growing in my own self-awareness and conquering fears. And believe me, I talk about all of this in the book.
Yes, you do.
In a very detailed way, which, you know, was kind of embarrassing in some ways. And, but I had these amazing experiences, but mostly I was seeing people feeling better. I was seeing people make some real changes, positive changes in their lives. And it was wonderful. And one day, Paul, you and I were sitting there alone at the center, which was rare. And we were sitting opposite each other at the desk. And we just started talking. And, you know, you started saying how, you know, this is such an amazing technique still after all these years. Somebody needs to write the book about it. It really needs to get out there. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I want to write this book. I can do this. But I had only written just for my own pleasure. I'd never written professionally. So I didn't say that. But I did offer, I said, well, my daughter's a professional writer. Maybe she'll be interested in writing this book. And so I actually gave you her phone number and you guys talked about it. But she called me later and she said, Mom, she says, it's a great project, but I just have too much on my plate right now. I can't take this on. You should write this book. You're the one who has the passion. You're living this. She says, you're a good writer. You should go for this. And I was so excited because I wanted to. But then we had to tell you, Paul. So do you remember how we did that?
We had a meeting or something like that. Your daughter came down and said, well, let's meet. And then she passed the baton or something.
Well, she said to you, she said, I'm sorry, I really can't take this on right now, but I do know a really good writer who could do this and do a good job. And you said, really? Who? And she looks over at me and you look over at me and you're like, what? And I said, yeah. She goes, my mom can do this.
my mom.
And you said, at first you were like confused for a minute. And then you said, oh my God, yeah, that would be great. Perfect. Yeah. You used the word perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
And, you know, you mentioned something too, how the personal experience of you. I mean, at first you tried to just write about me and that wasn't working at all. And we finally decided, you know, it should be an interaction between you and me. So you asking me stories about my life and then your personal take on that, you know. And I just have to remind everybody and honor the fact that you just sort of opened your heart as you wrote this book. Like, I remember you'd come and having written something and I said, Debra, something's missing here. Oh, no, you can't make me say that. You know? I don't want to tell people that. And but you did. I mean, it's a very personable, you know, story of you too. And the interaction between us is amazing.
It really took a lot of guts for me. I was telling people it's kind of like standing outside on the main street and pulling down your pants, because I'm a private person, but I had to really dig deep and you know, bare my soul so that this thing, you know, really worked. I knew otherwise, and you knew I was holding back. So when I stopped holding back, it came together in a really nice kind of a mesh. And we discovered over all these hours, you would come to my house and you would spend 2 hours each time. And I would just ask you all these questions about your past and, you know, how you came upon BioTouch and all that. And it was interesting how, you know, we would figure out how our lives kind of had this same trajectory through the years, even though, you know, we were so far apart in geography and we didn't know each other. But it was like the same years and the same months of the year, things were happening at the same time for both of us. So that was really unexpected.
It was. So, Bev, you have any questions? Again, here's the picture. By that time, when the book got published, you were in the scene, right?
Yeah.
You were the
Oh, yeah,
co-executive
yeah.
director or something?
Right. Well, I hadn't met, I think the first time I ever even saw Debra was at a staff meeting. And and she was just barely starting this. And somebody said, "Oh, that's Debra. She's the one that's going to be writing the book." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And Debra and I didn't talk for a very long time. But I just want to say something. When I actually read the book, I thought, this is a human story. This is a story about humanity. It reveals all of our fears and all of our experiences that lead us to a point of self-awareness. And that really comes through, Debra, when you wrote this book about Paul's journey, your journey. And I laughed, I cried, it was an amazing whole journey for me of emotions. And I thought, this is a timeless book, as we say, because it just reveals all of that humanness about all of us. But it was very interesting for me because at that first staff meeting, we met at a Mexican restaurant. There was a bunch of us there, and Debra was there to ask all of us. So I'm at the point where I need to have some personal stories from people or some experiences from people, and I'm like, who is that again? That's Debra. That's Debra. She's going to write the book. I'm like, oh, the book.
That's a funny story.
I know who Debra is now.
So, Debra, because I want to talk about a guy who did read the book, your audience that you were really trying to reach with this book was who?
So I kept seeing in the back of my mind for the 3.5 years that it took me to write this book, I wanted to write this book for everybody. I wanted it to be warm and engaging and that everybody could understand and not be like woo-woo or esoteric, And I kept seeing in the back of my mind like a truck driver, maybe in his 40s. And he was really have a back pain and he was driving his truck through Indiana, and just needed to know or hear that there was a simple technique that he could become aware of and it could really help him. And that's who it was. I kind of kept seeing this man and it helped me to try to reach everybody.
And that's funny because one day this guy came in, one of our recipients finally got her father who had outrageous back pains on a lot of opiate. He was sort of addicted to it. He was a furrier. He did horseshoeing on the east part of town, big burly guy. He walks in, he's like, okay, I'm doing this for my daughter. And he said, all right, let me buy that book. And so he buys the book and he comes back not even a week later. He had read the entire book in a couple of evenings. And he says to me, I have never read a book this good since Louis L'Amour. And if you know the Louis L'Amour book, that was like exactly who you were trying to reach,
Isn't that unbelievable?
It was. He loved the book. He was engaged with it, So, I mean, we were right up there with Louis L'Amour.
Louis L'Amour. Wow.
So it really is that kind of book that anybody can read, and it's inspirational. It's like Bev said, you go through lots of different feelings about it, but the main thing you walk away with is how simple it is to do BioTouch and how it is for everybody and everybody right now. And so you can get the book. It's available on our website for sure. It's also available through Amazon still, yeah?
Uh-huh.
And on Kindle. You can put it on your Kindle, so you can take it with you wherever you go. So, justtouch.com. You can order the book. If you have questions for Debra, you can send us an email at office@justtouch.com. And we sort of just want to end this. We really appreciate you coming on, Debra.
Oh my gosh, I loved it.
Yeah. And we just we wanted to end with what Gary Schwartz wrote in the foreword, because this sort of sums it all up. And he goes, as you explore Debra's gracious and grateful book, my wish is that you become filled, as I did, with the wonder and promise that BioTouch offers all of us, our loved ones, the greater humanity, and nature as a whole.
Wow.
Still gives me the chills.
I know. That is just gorgeous. And as Paul said, that's BioTouch.
That's BioTouch.
That's the promise of BioTouch.
And that's you, Debra. We appreciate you hanging out with us today. And,
thank you.
We look forward.
Debra,
thanks
for.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming on, Debra.
Love
it was
you
great.
guys.
Love you too, dear.
All right. Until next week, we'll see you all. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great week.
If pain has got you down and you live in town, take a trip down to Pima Street. The people down there are people who care. They will get you back on your feet. Put love into action. Put love into action. If you ever want to have any real satisfaction, choose love while you still can. Don't even try to understand. A healing grace in your own hands. Put love into action.